Anyone who needs a chair immediately?
Can have mine.
There's also one up here.
That's already been decided.
Here we go.
There's one there, one there.
Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Slightly late, but we'll call at 9 o'clock. Monique, will you call roll to see if we have a quorum?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Barron? Here. Mr. Sweet? Miss Castle?
Here.
Mr. Herman?
Here.
Miss Hagan? Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Sam, I understand you promised to be the person today, right?
Would you like to have a prayer first or say the allegiance first?
Stand first.
Well, that's what I have.
Yes, those of us who can. No, Sam, I was just noticing you were there because of your hat. Thank you. Now you're on the same.
1 Peter 4:10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. Please pray with me and pray for me. Our Father God, great loving Spirit, thank you for the wonderful talents and gifts that you have given each one of us. Help us to use them to glorify you and to serve mankind. Let us be mirrors of your light and reflect your love, your compassion, your understanding, and your kindness throughout the world. Help our leaders this morning as they make these decisions that will impact our community and our future lives here at Fort Clark. Bless our soldiers and all of our sailors and Marines and Coast Guard and all of the people that protect us, all of the first responders that come rushing in to help us when everyone else is running away. Please bless each and every person and family represented here. We ask these things in our senior brother's name, Christ Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Sam. Do we have any correspondence beyond that I'm not aware of? I don't think so. Yeah, I understand on the announcements. Suddenly realized I didn't know if we had any. Okay, our search for a new director of operations or executive director is underway. We have narrowed it down to 3 that we want to interview, and we will be doing that. You'll understand why you're not allowed to be involved. The interviews are scheduled for the next week and a half, and if we have anything to report, we'll do that as soon as we can. Bill, do I have a...
Yes, I was just making sure you were
Just
finished.
slow.
No. I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of December 19th, 2016. 15.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion?
You say 16?
This is the,
15.
we agreed on the date. Any other discussion? All in favor?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the special meeting on January 8th, 2016.
I'll second that also.
Any discussion? This was the special meeting. All of these, by the way, are on, the meetings themselves are on the website. In case you missed them, or want to see them again, Lord knows they were fun.
We missed reading it last month, is that what?
No, this, the reason we have two is, okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor? We have a treasurer's report.
There. Okay, bank balances as of Wednesday, January 13th, 2016. Del Rio Banks, Texas Community Credit Card, $21,838.43. Texas Community Checking, $68,264.31. Texas Community Money Market, $2,561.97. Brackettville Bank and Trust, General Fund, $119,300.26. Payroll, $3,580.77. Impound, $343,723.73. Las Morris, $64,472.52. Subtotal, $623,741.99. Fort Clark Historical Building Preservation Fund, $32,044, for a grand total of $655,742.43. Bank transfers. December 2015 estimated. To Bank and Trust Las Morris, 0. Texas Community Checking, $75,000 for operating expense. Bank and Trust payroll, $60,000. Bank and Trust impound, 0. Operating expense for a total of $135,000. December 2015 actual transfers. 2. Bank and Trust Las Morris, 0. Texas Community Checking, $67,121 for operating expense. Bank and Trust payroll, $73,000. This included the Christmas bonus, for a total of $140,121. January 2015 actual. Bank and Trust Las Morris, 0. To Texas Community Checking, $72,000 for operating expense. Bank and Trust payroll, $57,500. Bank and Trust impound, 0, for a total of $129,500. January 2016 estimated. To Bank and Trust Las Morris, 0. To Texas Community Checking, $75,000 for operating expense. Bank and Trust payroll, $65,000 for payroll. Bank and Trust impound, 0, for a total of $140,000. I move that we approve bank balances and bank transfers as read.
Second.
Okay, this is primarily approval of the bank transfers. All in favor? We have a daily operations report from Monique and Philip.
Yes, ma'am. What we have to report is, starting with the restaurant, the new menu will be out, and that's up at the front desk if y'all wanna look at it and see what's been changed on it. The hours are gonna be 11 to 3 for Sunday brunch, closed on Tuesday. The rest of the hours will be from 11 to 9. Still moving forward with Dickman Hall, thanks to Russell Knoll and his crew, and also Mr. Sweet staying, we have more time to work on it and do it right. Also, we'll be starting on helping out with the airport, getting the tin put back on properly. Myself, Mr. Lark, or Sam, and Russell went over there last week and looked at it. It looks like it's something that we in the maintenance department will be able to help out with. Yes, on the hanger. Brush pickup, I want to apologize for it being slow. We had one of our major pieces of equipment down and didn't have it budgeted to be replaced, the part. But thanks to Kathy and Wally Worm that had a job that needed to be done, maintenance department helped them with it. They helped cover the cost of the part, so the truck will be up and running hopefully by the middle of next week, and all the brush should be up and out of the way. Also next week, if not next week, the following week, we'll be working on not paving, but fixing all the holes throughout the fort, one unit at a time. It's gonna take a while, please be patient. We still have enough asphalt, that we should be able to finish it all. A slow process though. Still working with security on the speeding and the stop sign running. So far, we've got 5 warnings, and we are allowed to enforce that because it's not a speed law, it's a speed rule. According to our rules and regulations, we're allowed to enforce those with warnings, fines. Yeah, we would like the sheriff's department to be involved, but we have the capacity to do it with our security, and so we're working on that. 5 warnings have been issued out for running stop signs. Hopefully y'all see a difference, but again, we're working on it. 10 animal registrations have come in so far, and 7 warnings and 1 fine on the loose animals. We have a email about the cats. That's a whole nother issue that we're working on, but there is a lot. Again, be patient with us. Matt's trying to help trap them, but they're just everywhere. And I know a lot of people like to feed them, but it kind of doesn't help us out. We want to do it as humanely as possible, but again, we're doing what we can with them. We're working on getting internet for the Shafter apartment so that it's better to be rented out for people that need internet. Unfortunately, it doesn't jump from the motels to there, so we're gonna have an issue with that, but we have our IT girl working on that also. Filled a position at the RV park to replace, well, we don't replace Jim, he's a good hand, but we filled that position. So, we still are looking for, pro shop manager. I haven't been able to sit down with anybody on that yet, but this, probably next week, we'll start calling, the applicants in. And one other thing, pool tables are done at the adult center, so if you'll like to play pool, you'll enjoy those. We are ordering covers for them. Mr. Brookhauser said it'd probably be best to have us put covers over them, so he's helping us get them to keep them in good shape. And Monday, we're open Monday, we're working Monday, so trash will be picked up as scheduled. Thank you.
Oh, what about, recycling? Well, recycling probably, but not supplying. Kayla told me.
We'll get back to you in a minute.
She wanted to ask about the recycling, if we have Gaylord for the bottles. I think a little.
We're set, we got some Gaylords in the other day, Friday, and my wife and I went over there and spent some time shifting around and loading and unloading and piling and whatever. So we got everything set up, and We were, of course, we're open, okay. But we do not have any more Gaylords there. We'll have to order some more if we have to need them, but we're gonna have to see if we're gonna be getting a truck in the meantime. But we're set, we're okay right now.
And so far, we have, I wanna say 19 bales of cardboard so far. So it's, that mountain of cardboard is dwindling down. And Tuesday, the representative from Recycle Deal is coming in to visit with us to go over some things, so I think recycling is moving along pretty good. Thanks.
We have a question in the back.
Yes, ma'am. Let me regress for a minute, back to Philip on the dog issue.
Yes, sir.
What I'm asking is, has it been addressed, or have we done anything specifically reference the animal control officer's dog that gets loose and attacks both people and dogs?
Yes.
It has been addressed, could you enlighten us?
It has been addressed, a warning was issued, and a fine was issued.
Okay,
So-
thank you very,
So I spoke with him personally, he said that he said that somebody was letting his dog out,
interesting.
but I don't think that was the case, and we
I
talked, and we went and visited with him at the house.
Yeah.
I saw how his dog was hooked up, it is a friendly dog, anyone can walk up to it, I guess it just doesn't like other animals.
Right.
But it's impossible for the way he had it hooked for it to slip through that big old head of his, so. We haven't had an issue with him since, so I'm thinking he might have taken the steps to
I appreciate it,
keep
thank
that.
you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
And kudos to everyone who's been proactively recycling the cardboard. I break down my boxes still, and all goes, God bless you. For those of you who got that baler here and working on it, amen.
Thank you, John.
If you have kudos, I have medicine to feel
Okay? Don't do that. You're gonna have to speak up so that the people who are watching can hear you. Thank you. Committee reports, architectural.
My name is Phyllis Giblin. I'm the chairperson of the Fort Clark Architect Committee. This last month, we reviewed 6 permits and approved them, and they were for chain link fences, drains, new sidings on a unit, and then 2 roofs were replaced due to wind damage. We want to thank Philip and his group for helping us with architects, because sometimes we have to go out and inspect, green spaces. We want to also thank the board, mainly Gabby Talamontes and Chris Abbott, who is our building inspector. If their buildings are being built, they should have a red tag on them. If not, Chris will come out and ask you to apply to the architect committee for a permit to be doing, your weekend warrior repairs. We kind of sometimes have to do it, the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart, but that happens, it happens. Also want to let you know that come April, there will be 2 positions that will become available. So those of you that are interested in volunteering, please come every Tuesday at 9 o'clock here in the boardroom and see what the architect committee is up to and what we are doing. And we appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Phyllis. Golf?
Good morning.
Do you mind coming in? Phyllis, do you mind coming in? Not Phyllis, I'm sorry. I know.
For the month of December, we had 961 players, and that was 192 more than in November. So, upcoming, we've got lots of tournaments coming, and I'm just gonna leave these out to you guys. We've got the Pitter Putter, which is in February, the Hope Tournament in March, the Los Morris Tournament in April, Memorial Day Tournament in May, 4th of July, Labor Day, Happy Cervantes, Oktoberfest, Turkey Shoot, and Kris Kringle. All of these tournaments are put on by the golf committee, sponsored by the golf committee. It's a lot of volunteer work. And last fiscal year, through their efforts, they brought in a little over $19,000.
Wow.
4,500 of that went directly to the pro shop through greens fees, cards, that sort of thing. So, I think that those people really deserve a lot of credit. Other than, one thing, the letter back there. We have a note from, what's his name? I need the letter, just a second. Just a minute.
Okay, fine.
There it is. I have a letter here. It was directed to Debbie Isaacs from Clint Conrad at the school. And they are requesting to help out to repair whatever, like the driving range, because they want to use it. They want to be able to utilize it. And they want to bring the golf team in to work on that, and also to volunteer to help on work days. During the day may be a problem because the kid's going to school, but maybe we can work something out. So what I'm hoping, oh, and by the way, this is one of the things that we judge kids on with the scholarships for getting from the Los Morris tournament. Last year we gave out 3 $500 scholarships. And it's taken into account if those kids are helping on the golf course. So I'd kind of like admin and the board to give us a blessing to get him in to do that. I don't know what it's gonna entail, like insurance problems or whatever, to cover them for being on, but I'd really like to do this.
I don't think that's a problem. It needs to be worked out together.
Yeah, and I'd like to do, I don't wanna wait until the next board meeting. I'd like to be able to let him know as soon as possible.
Okay.
Go ahead and work with Monique and Philip.
Okay, great, thank you.
Can I make one statement on that? He said it'd be about 3 weeks until they finish up their track or whatever they're doing right now, but after that, then they're gonna start focusing on the golf part of it. So it's gonna be about 3 weeks, so we got time to really work.
They have a limited number of athletes.
Well, last year, I don't know, I helped with their district meet, and they had about 8 or 9 kids.
Well, the reason I'm saying that is they're using them now in the.
Yes, exactly.
And basketball.
Yeah. Sorry. My humor, as my granddaughter likes to say, doesn't get to everybody. Okay. Preservation Committee?
Morning, my name is Garland Young, Chairman of the Preservation Committee. We met last Wednesday. We're still working with Mark Brookhauser. I gotta get with him to give us an assessment on the work the previous contractor.
Garland, can I interrupt a second? Could you move that away from the table? It'd be easier for anybody to get to. There you go.
Thank you. We're gonna get with Mark Brookhauser to give us an assessment on how much it's gonna cost to redo the work that a previous contractor did. That when we inspected the work, we failed the whole job. I won't go into details, but it was pretty bad work. Seminole Hall is gonna have 7 new posts, and the big flag, wooden flag that goes up on there, and Mark will get that done. Right now, he's got a heavy contract out in the valley of the ranch. On the adult center, I don't know whether Sandy got with you,
Yeah.
Philip.
I sent you an email
Oh, I didn't,
this morning.
this morning, I didn't read it this morning. Are you gonna be able to do that, or are you gonna be too busy?
Us? She asked me to go in there, I got in the attic. The only damage that I see is that corner from where the wind had blown it up, and then the eaves all on both sides have gotta be replaced, and unfortunately, that'll take too much out of
A lot of
my
money.
guys, yeah.
We're looking at the Dawson roof, and we already went out and Sandy did an outstanding job with all the work that needs to be done on the adult center. So that's gonna be their major project in this coming year. The roof got damaged, and then it had a lot of rot from previous leaks where the roofers didn't replace or didn't fix the leaks previously, so we got a lot of rotten wood we gotta replace. So I'll get with, we've already got it pre-approved to get hold of the contractor. We'll get the roof on the adult center fixed and find out how much it costs. We may just be able to have to do one end because we've got limited funds and we've got some funds obligated to finish up the projects we got in going now. And that's all I have to report. You'll have a good day.
Thank you. Community Council, you're on your way.
Community Council met last week, and we came up with several projects for the upcoming year. Among them is a candidates forum. We were not going to do a candidates forum because I've been doing it for years and getting the flack, and then Allison said, I've got a broad back, I'll do it. So, we will be having a candidates forum on February the 13th at 10 a.m. in this boardroom. All those candidates who are running will receive a letter, and we would like as many as possible to be at the candidates forum. Because it kind of gets you to the idea of what you'll be facing if you get on the board. And that's a good thing. Also, we talked about possibly doing a gun safety awareness program where we would bring in an expert from the outside, but that kind of depended on whether the question was on the ballot or not. And that I do not know, so I don't know if we need to do that or not. But if you all think it's a good idea, we'll do it at some other point. Charles Fields was appointed as a member at large to fill in a position we had. We also talked about uses for Shafter Hall because we pay the rent there, so the building sort of belongs to community council, but if any of the other nonprofits want to use it at any time, they just need to let me know so that we can get better use out of the building since bingo is no longer held in that building. We will be having the Fort Clark Festival sponsored jointly by Fort Clark Springs Association and Community Council. And that is on the March the 5th and 4th and 5th. Yeah. And so we've got lots of exciting plans for that, so I hope you'll all attend. Thanks.
Thank you. We got some recycling before us, but is Beth here?
No, she's working.
Ah. I used to try to work on that day too. Do we have any, we pretty much got the description of what's going on. Do you want to add to that?
No, there's nothing, the reason that we're, oh, yes ma'am. The reason that if you've been over to recycle, you can see we're stacking stuff pretty high. The reason we're keeping stuff right now is because prices are very, very low on a lot of the items, and it's not worth sending out yet. So that's why we're storing for the moment. Other than that, keep the stuff coming.
It's exciting working over there with all that stuff stacked up so high. We have an RV report that's written, but other than numbers, which are obviously higher, Jim has resigned. I didn't understand what happened there.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that it?
That's it.
We have nobody to replace
No,
him?
I've replaced it already.
Want to talk about that?
I already did. I did in my jail report, but I'll say it again.
I missed it.
We did replace, we filled the position for the RV park with, Ryan Garcia. He's from Brackett here. He's got experience and
And he likes to mow, right?
loves to mow.
Because that's what it seems like Jim did all day long.
And, Diane did spend some time with them, training them on, getting them up to date on the computer, how to check people in, what to do when they come in, how to get them into the slots. He's moving along real well.
So Diane is still with us.
Diane is still with us.
Okay.
He does lighten the load for her.
He what? Lightens the load?
for her, which she
Okay,
needed.
yes. Do we have a recreation report? I love your attitude.
First, I'd like to thank Phil and you guys for getting the pool tables down in the lower level of the adult center. We do have a tournament there every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock.
Wednesday.
Excuse me, Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. Last week we had 8, the week before we had 10, so it's working out really good.
Be prepared.
The other thing is, the rec committee is just one, but we are going ahead with a presentation on the 25th of this month. Mary Ellen Miner, she'll be giving a presentation on the history of Spofford. It's going to be at the Service Center on 25th of February, 7 o'clock. So stop by and see, there's going to be coffee, cake, and stuff like that. We're going to try to keep plodding along, see what happens. But I guess I said, there's just one.
Are you doing Texas Hold'em?
We did last week. I don't know if it's gonna happen this week or not.
How'd it go? Did you have excitement and all that on Texas Hold'em? How'd it go?
Well, I was like a deer in the headlights. Never played before. Never played before, but we had 5 people there and spread the wealth around.
We're not discussing that part. I'm going to break in here. I forgot that during the time that I was supposed to be announcing things, that instead of Java with John, the board has said that they will do a breakfast with the board.
Breakfast?
Well, you're going to have to eat it when we're there. It'll be about 10 o'clock.
BYO, bring your own.
Yeah. We might scare up some cookies.
Taco party.
Oh, bring extras.
That's Monday.
Just, yeah, Monday. We've been trying to do this. We keep thinking that we're able to work every day of the week, but most of us can't. Only be. So at 10 o'clock on Monday, not all of us, but some of us at least, will be here for you to pummel with your questions if you like. Seriously, just to kind of clarify things and anything you want to talk about, please come on.
What time?
10 o'clock.
I have a question.
Yes.
What's the progress and what's happening with Dickman Hall? That's my question.
Actually, that was discussed in the Director of Operations report. We're going to have to, see, I didn't understand things out of that either. I think we're going to have to pay better attention. Phil, would you answer her question?
Yes, ma'am. With Dickman Hall, the bar is almost complete, other than the appliances that need to go in, the sink, the freezer, the beer cooler. But we're extending, extending out to the main dining area where the fireplace is. So being that B's sticking around, we have more time to do that. We still have money in the account from the donations and the silent auction to redo the flooring, the paint, the bathrooms. So that's where our progress with it.
Do they have a projected date of when it will be finished, or
I'm trying for a soft opening on, during Fort Clark Day, right?
or, so 8 weeks or so, 10 weeks maybe, possibly,
Yes, ma'am.
that can be postponed.
And you're welcome to come in and look at the progress when the doors are open. You're welcome to come in. Anybody's welcome to come in and look at it.
All right, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry.
Thank you. I know. We had more people come in, I was kind of counting whether or not we needed to. Okay. I have an airport report.
I'm Sam Lark. I'm a member of the Aviation Committee. I flew twice last week, so that's proof positive that turkeys can fly. A quick airplane joke. 3 people were flying in a chartered airplane, and the pilot said, "The plane's on fire, bail out." Well, one was a Texas personal injury lawyer. The other one was a high school student, and the other one was a priest. There was only 2 parachutes, so the personal injury lawyer put on a parachute and said, "I'm saving myself because I'm the smartest and the richest person in this airplane," and he jumped out. The priest said, "Son, I'm an old priest and I've tried to do good all my life, and I want you to take the remaining parachute and I want you to jump out and save yourself, and I'll go down with the plane." The high school student said, "That's not necessary, we still have 2 parachutes. The smartest and richest man in Texas just jumped out wearing my backpack full of books." I'd like to first say that Philip came out to the hangar, and that Philip is a big boy, but I'm telling you, he can go up a ladder like a squirrel can go up concrete. There's a ladder on the back of the fort, of the hangar, that used to go up to an observation deck up there. Philip went up there and found out that it's very possible to screw all of those loose flapping sheets of metal on the roof down. He's going to go up next week and do a little test patch with a little box of screws we got. It's going to take 4,000 screws to screw them down.
Make sure you buy extras because I know we're going to drop a few.
Yes, and we already have the donations gathered up to buy those screws, so it's a go. Whenever you find out you can do it, we will do that. Hangar doors. The hangar doors have not moved in 50 years. The volunteers went out there and worked on them this past week, and they're rolling. We got them moving, and we're going to get them so they're usable, and we have visions of treating them with OSPO to neutralize the rust and painting them with silver paint to make them look good. We also want to paint the gable over the front of the airport and put the old sign up, Fort Clark Field, elevation 1,150 feet, like it was in the old days. And so things are moving along there really well. We've got windows that are broken out. We have 540 window panes. And of those 540 window panes, only 492 are broken. So it's going to be a big job. It's going to take about $8,000 to do it. Now, the volunteers have already taken one of the panes down, and it's doable, and we'll just do them a pane at a time. It costs about $150 per pane, and there's 60 panels. And so we'll just do them one at a time until we get them done, unless some fat cat, rolls in here with a lot of money, which is probably not gonna happen. But anyway, things are happening and we're doing well. The airport runways are in great shape. No stickers, no thorns. You can land there safely. We're thinking about possibly distributing a flyer to all of the different airports in the area, telling them that they can fly in for Fort Clark days. And if we get some response on that, we can have some cars and some golf carts over there to ferry them down to the activities and back. And we'll have a cell phone number so that they can call and get a pickup or get transferred whenever they fly in. And as soon as they hit terra firma, we will be there with a release of liability form for them to sign. Okay, that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. A lot going on.
Sam, did you want to mention your yellow and brown friend?
Oh, yes. Well, we have some snakes out there on the airport. And when I've been mowing, I would notice this snake stick his head up like a parachute and look around. And then when he would see me coming, he would haul ass. Well, I had a friend Google him. I described him. He is called a broad-banded copperhead. He's a very poisonous snake. He's kind of a copper color with yellow bands about 3 or 4 inches of width all the way down his body. He likes to hang out over there in all of those old pallets that are stored in that old ready room over there. So we are hoping to find him and send him lovingly home to his creator. And all of them. But that's just a little thing we got going on, but we'll take care of it, don't worry. We're not gonna get bit, we know where it is.
Thank you, Sam.
Windows sound like a painful situation.
Search and Certification Committee. Oh, there she is. Sorry. Could not catch sight of you.
Debbie Isaacs, chairperson of the Search and Certification Committee. The 2016 Search and Certification Committee, consisting of myself, Steve Diller, Darlene Sandwick, Judy Winchell, and Carolyn O'Block, do hereby submit the following certified names of applicants to the board. Bill Herman, application received December the 1st, 2015. Garland Young, received December the 21st, 2015. Daniel Sullivan, received January the 7th, 2016. Kent Partlow, received January the 8th, 2016. Kim Van Ort, received January the 9th, 2016. Gina Forrester, application received January the 11th, 2016 at 8:49 a.m. And Anthony Facilio, application received January the 11th, 2016, 1:41 p.m. The committee received these applications on or before January the 11th, 2016, which was in according to our calendar, the deadline for applications to be turned in to the committee. We had a meeting on the 13th and certified these names and went through the applications. The office accepted 2 more applications, one on Wednesday, January the 13th, supposedly at around 4:30 p.m., and that was John Rosetsky. Also, on January the 14th, 2016, around 10:30 a.m., they accepted an application from Maria Perkins. As we had already met and certified the applications, the last 2 were not actually certified by the committee. They were past the deadline for us to have them in. According to the calendar we received, from the Fort office. On January the 14th, I got a call to pull Anthony Vasilio's application. And there's that letter where he pulls his application. And then I was told that Maria Perkins was gonna pull hers. I have not seen the receipted verification of that. So we are submitting, the committee are submitting 6 applications, and I do not know what the board or the office is gonna do with the other applications. Anything else? Any of the rest of you? That's our report to the committee and to the board.
All right, thank you. In a regular year, and according to the bylaws, this would be the end of the search and certification committee, their job. But apparently, they're doing some of the mailing committee's work, which is not a problem, but it will be, I think, an added. No, I was going to say more than duty. I talk slow, but filling in the blanks isn't helpful. Okay. I just think that one of us on the board should have caught that. The next item is the candidate placement on the 2016 election ballot. We now have 6 names. Who do you want to? It would be you that would address it.
This is the flyer that was on the table where you pick up your applications at the administration office. It says, deadline to have applications into the fort is January 13th, 2016 by 5 p.m. Now, if someone adhered to this, they probably should be on the ballot, as is the case with John Rosetsky, because that's what it says. You have to go over what you see printed. Had it said the 11th on here, he probably would have been in on the 11th, but it didn't. It said the 13th. So I'm asking, what do we do about it?
Debbie, the committee had a response to that when I was talking with you.
Well, if you look at January the 11th, 2016, November to January the 11th, 2016, it says, Search and Certification Committee deadline for applications and resumes.
But this is what you put out.
But before 5 p.m., the Search and Certification Committee will have all those to the admin office by 5 p.m.
I understand. Are you aware of this? I had not seen it.
All I've got is this right here.
Who printed this?
Just because the office made a mistake.
I'm not sure who did it. That's why I'm asking.
Who printed this one? The Debbie's schedule. I got that.
Mine, this
Yeah.
one here,
Who
we
made
were
that?
handed this in our first meeting.
By who?
Rihanna Hay.
Okay. So somebody didn't get their.
But as far as I know, y'all can accept them, but we did not certify them. We did not make sure they were members. We didn't have applicants. I just go by what we were handed.
Is there a bylaws in the rules on deadlines, or is it just something made up?
The rules,
No,
not the
they're-
dates. They have to be so many days according to the bylaws or the rules of the state, chapter 209.
Can we then, do the ballot, and then on the bottom of the ballot say these people would like to run, and they could be write-ins?
No.
No, there's no, y'all don't take write-in?
Yes, we do, we sure
We don't
do.
give you that.
But if we put it on the ballot, it is a candidate.
Oh, then maybe the lawyers should figure out what we should do.
I know the bylaws are such outdated and
This all
erroneous.
came effect after in 2012, somehow you couldn't do it any sooner than a certain date, no later than a certain date. And I don't know, but according to us, the applications and everything was in resumes, because now we are drawn today, and then on the 26th, back up to where's the,
Well, where'd that come from? From where did that come?
We're talking about, I think she's asking about that. And so is,
That is an original document that was laid out on the administrative desk and has been fingerprinted and DNA proofed, including the handwriting.
John, I don't think you're helping your
Y'all
case.
can actually do it, and if he's got his resume, I don't have a problem. I'm just saying the committee did not certify his resume.
Thank you.
Was
And I
the-
know, let me get this from Dan. Go ahead.
Just a couple of quick points of clarification. The bylaws, the Fort Clark Springs Association bylaws authorize the search and certification committee only to set the deadlines. Property Code 209, on the 10 days, 60 days, is for the effective date of the membership list of eligible voters. No sooner than 60 days, that list should be compiled no sooner than 60 days ahead of the election date, nor later than 10 days. It has nothing to do with the candidate application deadline. That lies solely with the search and certification committee. A clerical error from office staff, I don't believe invalidates our bylaws and our committees that were duly appointed.
Well, the bylaws state that the committee will submit to the board of directors at the December meeting.
No.
You know what it says right there?
She did, but there was only one applicant at that time, wasn't it?
This is an old.
That's what
Yeah,
y'all
we
gave me
did do that.
2 weeks ago in here.
We did not receive our first application until December the 1st, which was Bill Herman. Our second one came in December the 21st.
Well, there's so many copies of these bylaws out there. In a meeting here, in a special meeting we had here 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, this is the bylaws that came in our packet. And this packet says December at the regular meeting.
No, that,
I don't, you didn't give it to me.
It should be on the very back page. It was attached because they were redone.
If you recall, the committee, we had a committee and they redid the election.
Yeah, there it
That's
is.
it. Yeah.
That's current.
and it's tiny.
And we didn't set these deadlines were set for us.
I hope you knew that you had the option to change them if you wanted to.
We were not told that.
Thank you.
Any of the rest of you can speak up anytime.
Feel free to jump in here, Bill.
Well,
May I have my original?
I was on the search and certification
That
committee.
handed
I was on the search and certification committee, and I think we did the best job that we could. And we had goals.
We
can't hear you. Can't hear you. We did the best job that we could. We followed the rules that were given to us. The thing of it is if the board all of a sudden, I mean, why are we having a search and certification committee if all of a sudden they can overrule us and do whatever they want to do? I don't think that's fair. But I'm just saying that for future stuff also, if you start doing something now, I mean, other people can come in, you know, the day that you're sending out the ballots and saying, hey, I want my name on this ballot, and now what are you gonna do? You know, there comes a limit, a time. You got the time set, we did our job, we turned it all into the office on Wednesday the 13th. We thought that was done because everything should have been in. If you do decide to run this guy, John, on here, I think the fair way would be the first 6 people on here, you draw their numbers today as normal. Now, the search and certification committee gets together, we certify whether he's certified even to be a candidate. And if we say yes, then his name can be added at the bottom of that list. But the other guys should have theirs, they were in on time, they should have first 6 numbers, should be drawn with them, and then go from there. That's just my opinion, but I think.
Thank you, Darlene, it's a good way to go.
Common sense, that doesn't work very often,
Seemed very good to me. Debbie?
We did recognize 2 things on the application, that we're gonna make a report to the board after we get through with all of our obligations, that the application definitely needs to have a deadline on it, and also,
Length of term.
yeah, the length of the term. A lot of people don't realize that's a 3-year term they're signing up for. So that application really needs the length of the term, plus the deadline for the applications to be turned in. And we will do that in a formal letter to the board when we're through with our full obligations.
And we will appreciate that. I have no idea what you want to do about John's application.
If they have a date set that they were using, that's the date that you should use.
And if Fort Clark Springs issued a different date, the office.
Then why do we have a certification committee?
Okay, you guys
I
didn't
don't
do
want
that
to,
before?
I don't want to argue
No.
with the audience. We've heard from you and your points are good. The board has to make a decision. And whether they make the right one or the wrong one, it's a decision they have to make.
That form was handed to us and it was redone last year because nobody has to state any of that information but their name and their address and a phone number to contact them. It's the only thing on that form, and a signature to run for the board. So everything else is strictly voluntary, but that was, the application was handed to us along in our packets, and I think Darlene has that packet in her hand when she went up there.
I think that what Ms. Darlene said should be what we should follow.
I have one more request. Please let the board make a decision here. As long as it involves you, John, do you have a comment?
I would like to ensure a better, stable political process. There has been so much inconsistency and misunderstanding.
I didn't ask
That is my
you.
passion.
I understand.
I'm running for consistency and everyone's opinion. I am not here to quid pro quo. I am not going to promise anyone in exchange for a vote.
John.
But I do believe that my application, as advertised on the front desk of the Fort Clark Springs office, should be admitted.
The question I was trying to ask you was whether or not you heard and felt okay with Darlene's idea of, since you were not in the initial process, that you get number 7 on the ballot. Or is it 8?
I do not agree. I believe I should be included in the lottery of 1 and 7.
Okay. Board, what do you want to do about it? I've heard from the audience, please. I'm asking the board, what do you want to do about it?
since we cannot identify where that document came from that had the wrong date on it, I think that, two things. That, there has to be some benefit of the doubt here, but, number two, maybe there's three. Number two, I think our committee did a superb job of putting this together, and they had the proper expectations based on the calendar that they were given. It's not their fault. Number three, each person that wants to run for the board is also an adult. If they have any question about when the application was due, they had but to call the committee or a board member or anybody else to find out, to make sure that they had it right. Okay, that's just we're all adults here, you have a responsibility as well, ensuring when I ran for the board, I made sure that I knew what the date was and it wasn't printed on the application. So I actually like Darlene's idea because I think it's a compromise. The reason that you have not been certified yet, so they have to certify you before they can put you on the ballot, and I think, I'm sorry, and I think that,
Speak up!
I'm,
No,
Does that help?
Running the water, so that's all right. Now,
is that better?
Ma'am, please sit down
Yes,
or stand quietly.
yes.
I said, I think it's a compromise. Darlene's suggestion, I think, is a compromise. And I think it's a good one, because the committee has yet to certify John, and they have to do that first before they can legally put him on the ballot. So my thanks to everyone who's willing to listen here, but I think there was misinformation out there. The committee did what they were supposed to do. I just think it's a good compromise.
I'm afraid it's been thrown at the board. Do you have a motion?
Is this a compromise from the committee or just from Darlene? We have other committee members, would they agree with this?
I would agree with that.
And that's fine with me, is it anybody else? Is that all right with Debbie?
Yeah, she's not.
She's nodding her head, yes.
Then I'll make the motion that we accept Darlene's compromise
All right,
and allow Mr. Rosette to run at the end of the ticket.
all right. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Opposed? You've got a friend. I think you'll be fine. Well, now we have the candidate placement. Do we have all 6 candidates here?
Are all 6 candidates here?
Will you please come forward?
One of them is not, but I think she's got somebody that's gonna draw for her.
Kim Van Ort is in a horse show this weekend.
Okay, are you
And
drawing
I'm
for
drawing
her?
for, if that's okay.
Yes.
What are they gonna
Are we doing alphabetically? I have Gina Forrester. Bill Herman.
You need to be over there, not that here. Oh, sorry.
Kent Hartlow. Mr. Sullivan. Van Ort. And Mr. Young. All right.
Starting with Gina, we need to hear your places. Did you hear that?
Number 1 for Ms. Forrester, Mr. Herman,
4.
Mr. Partlow,
6.
Mr. Sullivan,
Aye.
Ms. Van Orts,
Number 2.
number 2, and Mr. Young.
Number 3.
Okay. Thank you. And then Mr. Rosetsky will be number 7. When he's certified. Okay.
I got Van.
I can't read that.
No, that's fine, I can. Okay, so Ms. Gina Forrester has placement of number 1. Ms. Kim Van Ort has placement of number 2. Mr. Young has placement of number 3. Mr. Herman has placement number 4. Mr. Sullivan has placement of number 5. Mr. Partlow, number 6. And once Mr. Rosetsky's candidate sheet is certified, it'll be number 7.
Would you spell Van Ort?
Yes, ma'am, it's VANORT.
And that's Mrs. Van Ort.
Mrs. Van Ort, I apologize.
She's not available.
Sorry, I just,
Meeting or otherwise.
on ballot items and issues, one of our major problems is getting things typed up and making everybody look good. Don't want anybody to say that we got your picture in there upside down, or you looked funny, or you took part of the resume but not all of it. If you've submitted a really long resume, you may want to go to Brianna Hayes' office and see if you can reduce the size, because with this many people running, it'll be tough to get everybody in. It'll be a big fat envelope when it comes to you. With that said, I am so impressed with the Search and Certification Committee getting that many people to run. Last year you couldn't sell a place on the ballot, I don't think, and so you did a good job. I appreciate it. Kent?
To preclude any future problems, do we have an official deadline for the submission of the resumes and such? Just to make sure everybody knows right now, and there's no more confusion.
I thought they were already in.
January 11th.
No, the application was due by the 11th. So what are the,
What are you asking?
when are the resumes going to be
The resumes
published?
were supposed to be, being worked on, let's see the calendar.
When are they going to be published?
Hang on the ballot. All
You need a-
writing was supposed to be paired between January the 11th and January the 15th. So I don't know if the office have got them.
We do not have everybody's. We do not have Mr. Partlow's. We do not have Mr. Rosetsky. And those are the only 2 that we're lacking.
When do you need them submitted by?
As soon as possible. We should have had them this last week.
And the size deadline?
You can get that from the office if you go over 200 some words, you've lost people, including me, and I love to read. But the picture is something you want to get into. They will take your picture here if you have problems getting that done.
I think the picture's supposed to be a 2x2. Monique can take those photos. I believe the actual size of what is a 2.5 by 4? I'm almost sure that's what it is. They've got a form
I
somewhere.
can check with the office after meeting.
Okay, they do have a form that we're supposed to be in.
Anyone else on the ballots issues? Okay. Please remember that February 13th at 10 a.m. is the candidates forum. At that time, every candidate will be asked to give their own feelings, but also probably field questions from the audience, and that's the tough part because some people like to beat you up. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, Gina. Somebody got you to run, I'm glad. Every one of you, I am so glad. I felt lonely on the ballot last year. I just can't say it enough. I'm so happy with getting all these people. All right. For what you all came for, we are going to take the motion off the table as Robert's rule says I may. And repeat the motion from last meeting, the special meeting. Can you find the motion and
Should we read it aloud again?
do you want, are you talking about the, well, there's a resolution that's on the table, and there's also a motion.
Okay, do we want to read the resolution again for those that didn't attend last time?
We can't hear you.
Some of this is just for the board, okay? The question is, do we want to reread the resolution amending the rules and regulations, and that was the motion that was tabled. You got it?
I have it.
I'm talking to Bill, he's the one that reads it.
I'm going to give it.
I got it right here.
I know this.
The resolution number 2016-01, Fort Clark Springs Association Incorporated. A resolution amending the rules and regulations of the Fort Clark Springs Association Incorporated, Texas nonprofit corporation.
I then forgot I'd say that.
How's that? Be it resolved by the Board of Directors of Fort Clark Springs Association Incorporated that the rules and regulations of Fort Clark Springs Incorporated are hereby amended as follows. Section XVI, hunting and firearms and fishing. A, Fort Clark Springs Association property shall be considered a wildlife refuge with no hunting, trapping, or discharge of firearms, bows, crossbows, BB, and air rifles permitted except in controlled conditions directly authorized by the Board of Directors under circumstances considered in the best interest of the membership. Furthermore, the unauthorized use of weapons as defined in the Texas Penal Code, Title 10, Chapter 46, Section 46.01, under definitions, on Fort Clark property is prohibited except in controlled conditions directly authorized by the Board of Directors. 1. Open carry prohibited. Pursuant to Section 30.07 Penal Code, trespass by license holders with an open carry handgun, a person licensed under Chapter H, Chapter 411, Government Code Handgun Licensing Law may not enter this property with a handgun that is carried openly. The term property includes all Fort Clark Springs Association club grounds, that is common property including all Fort Clark Springs Association owned buildings, but shall not include designated Fort Clark Springs Associate Gun Range or Fort Clark property authorized for use in hunting.
Sorry, we had a motion to approve the resolution, as I recall. I don't remember, oh, there it is.
The motion was to approve the resolution to amend the FCSA rules and regulations to prohibit open carry on the grounds and buildings of FCSA. And Herman seconded the motion.
Okay, and then, that was Ms. Hagan that made the motion,
Yes, ma'am.
and the tabling was done by Ms. Hagan again and Barron and Sweet. All right. What we're discussing here is a change to rules and regulations. Do all of you know that we have a book of rules and regulations? Have you received a copy of it? Did you know you could get a copy of it if you went to the office? You will not be charged for it, the copying of it, but you do have to ask for it. So this didn't come out of nowhere. I don't know how big the rules and regulations are, but they're not that big. The motion has been removed from the table. Do we have any more discussion?
Yes, sir.
And at the moment, it's not open to the audience, please. Any more discussion by the board?
Well, I would suggest that we actually read our security manager's recommendations.
And? Okay. Do you want to read those, Sandy?
Sure. Dear board members, I'll try to read through a couple of typing errors here, but forgive me if I don't. I have put together several different articles on the open and concealed carry topic that may provide you with some helpful information on the subject. During the last board meeting, several statements were made that I think need to be addressed. First of all, I think the big issue is the, quote, infringing on a person's Second Amendment rights, end quote. I've taken the liberty to print out legal theory of the right to keep and bear arms. When reading through this article, please pay close attention to 7 and 11, which try to explain the person's Second Amendment rights versus the rights of private property owners. The second issue looks like the argument of how open carry will make things safer. With this in mind, I can only refer you to a Wall Street Journal article. If you will read through it and then pay close attention to the last 2 paragraphs on the last page, which describes a real-life incident that occurred in Colorado Springs where open carry is legal. I've contacted Texas DPS and specifically asked them if FCSA adopts the open carry policy, would security personnel be able to stop and ask to see a person's license if we see a person walking around openly carrying a weapon? The answer is no. And law enforcement are also not allowed to detain or question any individual openly carrying a firearm as long as they are not doing anything wrong. But this only pertains to open carry areas not restricted by Article 3.06, 30.06 or 30.07 of the Texas Penal Code. The third issue, which was not brought up in the meeting, but is surely something that needs to present on everyone's mind, is the fact that just because a person has a license to open, conceal, carry, that makes the person responsible and law-abiding. The state of Texas keeps close records on its concealed carry license holders. The last reporting period of January 1st, 2013 to December 31st, 2013 shows the different categories of offenses during the period of time, along with the number of convictions of concealed handgun licenses holders. Another article from the Violence Policy Center entitled Concealed Carry Killers also gives some state-by-state fatality information on the subject as well. These facts show that not all licensed open concealed carry holders are more level-headed or less prone to violence than any other person, as stated in the ending paragraph in 10 Things Everyone Should Know About Concealed Weapons Permit Holders. In closing, the debate of whether or not individuals should have the right to conceal or open carry firearms on FCSA property can be difficult. Both sides have good points, but in the end, it is law enforcement, not concealed or open carry license holders, that have to deal with the situations that will arise from our decisions on this particular issue. I would highly recommend board members to consult with the sheriff on this issue. He may be able to give some valuable insight on the subject. My own personal opinion on this matter is strictly a safety concern. Saving lives or avoiding bad situations are usually done by alarm systems which tell you when something bad is fixing to happen. Similar to the Colorado Springs incident, by allowing everyone to openly carry firearms takes out the element of alarm. I feel that all citizens should have the right to protect themselves and their property, but we as policymakers have a larger responsibility to all of our citizens to do our very best to see that everyone is protected to the best of our ability. Our current plan is very simple and most importantly, quite effective. The current FCSA emergency action plan involving an active shooter is as follows. If you see a person with a weapon of any description, rifle, shotgun, or pistol, you immediately call security or the sheriff's office. There has never been a need for anyone to openly carry a weapon on FCSA property except in the act of hunting or at the gun range. This plan has kept the residents and guests of FCS safe, and I see no need at this point of time to change it. If safety is our goal, then the very sight of a weapon should be cause for alarm. I believe that allowing the open carrying of firearms by individuals that you know absolutely nothing about onto FCSA property will eventually give residents a false sense of security, which could possibly lead to an incident, something like the one in Colorado Springs. It is common knowledge that FCS is a historical landmark, and our living historians are an invaluable asset to the association. There has never been any problems or complaints about any of our reenactors wearing their firearms. I don't see why they should do anything different from what they have done in the past. It is my recommendation that FCSA allow residents and guests to conceal carry only, which will give us the ability to question anyone who openly carries or brandishes a weapon on FCSA property. Our current policy is tried and true and should never be altered and changed for the safety and well-being of all the residents or their guests. Thank you, Matt Bland, FCSA Security Manager.
I'd like also to remind everyone that we encourage people to come in and visit Fort Clark Springs. If we have an open carry rule, then we can't stop anybody coming in with an open carry weapon either. These people are here maybe for a few hours. There are certain places where we know we can't be having open carry, but when we let somebody in that we don't know, it makes it more difficult. That's my comment. Anything else? I'm sorry, Ann, go ahead.
My comment was that it seems that we have no control over our roads. They belong to B.O.D, which is a public entity. And what I read in this 11 column here, says that any place that can have public access can do the carry. So I make the suggestion that you all discuss the fact that where we need to put the signs on the buildings, we do have a right to prohibit people from open carrying inside our buildings. And that's just open for you all to discuss.
And you're suggesting that we do that, we keep them, okay. Any other discussion, I'm sorry?
Yes, Matt is suggesting we talk to the sheriff Burgess in his document, so if we're going to adhere to that, then we need to table this till we get a chance to talk to him and have him do a report or bring him before the meeting. Also, I'm inclined to think that there are just certain buildings that maybe we could prohibit carry, which would be like this boardroom or the bar swimming pool. I wouldn't go over all that. I wouldn't do all that, yeah. I definitely would not go by that whole list. That's my thought.
Anybody else? We still have a motion on the floor then.
I didn't really make a motion.
No, we still have the original motion. I understand. More discussion, or are you ready to vote on that motion?
Well, I think B made a comment.
My suggestion would talk to the county sheriff.
Okay.
Well, I don't think, again, based on Matt's, information here and what he gave us, I don't know if the buddy could tell us anything different than what Matt has given us.
Yeah, Matt has a nice report here, but I guarantee you that you could get someone else out here to write that report, and they could find just as many examples of good things that happened because of Terry.
I
1,000 to 1 probably.
I went through the people that gave, well, one was that Arizona's crime is down because of open carry. I can't find any information that tells me that, but I'm willing to accept it from somebody else. If we are not going to vote on this, or if we are not going to, we either have to decide to vote on it, put it on the ballot, whatever, but until it gets decided, we can't have open carry, because it hasn't been, in my view.
The state laws, you can just follow the state laws.
We have a private piece of property here.
You can still follow the state.
I understand. You want me to let everybody open carry first and then try to stop it?
Yes. You know, but I wouldn't make any rash decisions.
Nobody's made any decisions yet. I'm asking the board, please. There were so many people who got to talk in our special meeting. And that's why we had it, so that you could do all the talking you wanted to. There is nothing new that's happened, as far as I know, unless somebody shot somebody. I beg your pardon?
Point of order, the board is not considering all the information.
No, they're not.
That isn't my point. What information do you think we're not considering?
If I might have the microphone, I'd be glad to explain.
Of course. You had the microphone a couple times on Friday. What happened?
This one. Well, my name is Sheriff Hartwell, by the way. I have considered it and found some information you may not have realized. Right? You're looking at a law. You're not considering the law, which is broad scope. The proposal that you are deciding on right now applies only to license holders. So that's all it will affect. It will not prohibit the open carry of long arms, which is rifles or shotguns, which is not required to have a license for. It will also not prohibit the carry of replica pre-1899 firearms that do not use a rimfire or centerfire cartridge. What it will do is put big signs on the front of the fort that says, hey, all of you zealots that want to come out and make a statement, come protest us. It will not prohibit everyone from carrying firearms on this fort.
I understand.
There's nothing you can do to prohibit the carry of long arms
I
or
understand.
the replica firearms.
I understand. That didn't slip by me. I apologize. Part of our information
So why
included
make
that.
us a target?
Nobody has decided anything yet,
Well, you need
please.
to be able to consider this before you make your decision, please. Thank you, I'm done.
This is an emotional issue, which scares the heck out of me, because if you're emotional out there with your open carry, what are we gonna do? Don't answer that, please.
That's a cheap shot.
You're right. That's why I said don't answer.
Again, I say that our roads don't even belong to Fort Clark Springs anymore. They could be all over the road. How in the world could anybody really and truly, restrict this, our security, or the sheriff?
The law in the state of Texas allows private property owners to determine who and where guns may be carried. And when you brought up the law, I've read it, it's there, private property owners. They determine where. You, on your own personal private property, can tell someone they cannot bring a gun onto your property. We are private property. The state of Texas allows to determine where, when, who, what we can have on our own private property. So regardless of which way we vote on this, we're not violating Texas state law. And the Supreme Court of the United States of America is the one that has broadened this. And they have allowed states also to determine where, when, who they carry weapons. And we are trying to abide by the state law. And again, as I said last week, please, there are a lot of people on the fort that are already complaining about the fact that they don't want to have to walk around feeling unsafe because people are openly carrying weapons where they can see them. And the fact that our security people, cannot even stop and ask someone if they have a license means that anybody can come on the fort wearing a handgun. We don't know who they are, whether they're licensed or not, and we can't even ask. If we ask, they don't have to tell us. They ask, we don't have to tell us. We're concerned about everyone on the fort, not just the people who want to carry openly. They can already carry concealed, so we're not taking any right to carry a weapon away from them. Okay, but we are also concerned about those people who really are frightened by the idea of facing people carrying weapons. And they are members of this fort too, and they also deserve fair consideration on these laws. And we have some information here that Matt gave us that even 75% of law enforcement agencies in the state of Texas are not happy with the open carry law because they can't determine who's a good guy and who's a bad guy. So I'm just trying to get everybody to be patient with people and realize that there are people with different point of views, and there are people here that are frightened of the thought that people are just gonna openly walk around the fort with guns on their hips or under their arms. So please also be considerate of those people. Their feelings are just as important to them as yours. Except we aren't taking anything away from you, but you are taking their peace of mind away from them.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
Haven't done it yet. Do you want,
Haven't done anything.
will you please?
Please, I have one question. Could the board
Okay.
please enlighten us on Miss Ann's proposal of, which she keeps stating that it's private property, and yet we all know Fort Clark B.O.D owns the roads. Could you please define that for us so we can understand that point?
I don't know what Fort Clark Mud has done about it.
No, that's not what I'm saying. If Fort Clark B.O.D is a separate amenity, and she's saying we're private property, we have a conflict of interest here.
Are you talking about people in cars with guns or just people
I'm
walking down the middle of the road?
I'm talking about, you're saying that this is all private property. And yet, we all know that Fort Clark is a separate amenity, and they own our roads. Now, you're saying we're private property, but part of our property belongs to somebody else.
And we're not addressing the roads. If you listen to the resolution when it was
You're
read,
saying Fort Clark.
we're
For me,
only saying Fort Clark property. Not Mud property, not anybody else. We're only talking about Fort Clark property. We're not talking about personal property owned by the individual members. It's only property owned by Fort Clark, which is not the roads. And all of you concealed carry people, and I am one, know that your car is an extension of your house, and you don't require, a license is not required to have a gun in your car. Although you have a concealed weapon, it has to be concealed. So the roads, unless you're walking down the middle of the road, I guess it would probably be up to mud, but if we don't own the roads, this only applies to Fort Clark owned property. And a list of the buildings is, that we have right here. So I just wanna make sure that you're understanding what we're reading here, to you here, not
I
just.
understand.
Okay,
Um,
that's all yours.
Chuck, we heard plenty from you before. If there's somebody who was not here Friday, I will take a quick comment, but I don't want any more.
I have just very quick questions on that.
I'm sorry?
Who's going to talk, me or him?
Go ahead.
I just want to be clear, a concealed weapon is okay. Just the open carry that you're trying to ban. My question is the concealed weapon less dangerous than an open carried weapon?
Probably not, but open carry,
So that means we can. I don't really care myself, I don't have a dog in the hunt, but, just seems to me.
we're really not open for comments. We had comments till we were blue in the face. Is there something new that you think of back there?
Oh, Margaret, I know, and I'm sorry to stand up again, but you know what I think it is? Let's see, I'll just be very brief. 2 meetings ago, someone wanted to put a light by the walking path by the teen center. And so, let's see, the issue came up is that walking path safe? And I think what's happening now is all the good, kind people who hunt and carry guns and enjoy living on Fort Clark, are kind of, let's see, being questioned, like, well, are you walking on that walking path with a concealed gun? And see how it got conflicted a little bit.
I don't think anybody's questioning that.
And so, all right, that's just all I have to say is that, like, let's not kind of make a mountain out of a molehill. Be safe on the walking path, and everybody enjoy what they're doing and be safe. That's all. I'm sitting down.
Okay,
Never
Chuck, you
mind.
might as well get in there too.
Well,
I'm sorry.
walking path.
I'm talking to Chuck.
All right, thank you very much.
I'm sorry.
I appreciate your consideration. I think Mr. Sullivan opened a very valid point here, and that is, this board cannot stop people from walking on the roads with concealed carry, which kind of negates the whole purpose of what you're suggesting be done because of other people seeing a gun and freaking out. Because if anybody wants to open carry, all they have to do is walk on the road.
It's not like that Fort Clark Mud is a separate entity that we can't talk to.
You see, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like MUD has to make that determination, which they can't make because they are public property, not private property.
I'm not sure that's so.
But anyway, the whole point is, I think, is like, never mind.
I thank you for the never mind, Chuck.
Let's put it on the ballot and let the membership decide, please.
Please, audience, honest to God, I don't want to hear anything more about it. I understand your side, I understand your side. But there are two sides. It's not just because it's legal, I get to see a gun on your hip. It's because there are people that have to respond to different things. And I understand that there are people who believe that if you are wearing a gun, you can stop that guy from killing everybody. I want to see that happen first. And I don't want to be in that group. I have not found a report that tells me that happened. I'm sorry. That's the Army, that's something else.
No, he wasn't Army, he was a master of arms. He pulled the gun out of his drawer, he stopped a killer about to kill the Parliament of Canada. Go wild. And he stopped him.
I ask you not to, please. Master of Arms is something different too. Please. The board has to make a decision and the board wants to talk. I've given you time, please let us talk. I see her, it's just, I'd like to give her a turn.
Go ahead, Ann.
I had a thought about it, and thinking about putting it on the ballot. And, I had a thought, as I thought about all this and all this confusion, that, what we might need to do to put on the ballot is to give Fort Clark Springs the opportunity, give Fort Clark Springs membership the
Just a minute,
opportunity.
just a minute, okay? I ask you for your consideration. You are the audience. While you're members, you've had plenty of input. We had a meeting Friday so that you could get more input. While Ann is talking, please let her talk because her voice is quiet. Whatever your wonderful feeling is, hold it for a minute.
My thought for an alternative vote is to ask the members if they should give us the right to, let me get it back in my head again, then I'm sorry.
Take your time.
To ask the legislature to repeal the open carry law. At this time, we do not have the right to deal with the legislature because of our articles of incorporation that say we may not influence legislation. But if the majority of the members came forth with a vote, it might carry more weight that we could ask the legislature our official request to repeal the open carry legislation. Now, that's for the board to consider. I'm not the judge here.
Thank you, Ann. Anyone else want to talk?
I have only one more comment.
And that is, we are putting a lot of responsibility on Matt and his people to determine who's safe and who's not safe for the fort. And we, since there are security people, and if they cannot ask, people can come on the fort that we have no idea, aren't members or visitors. We have no idea why they're here, why they're here. And I think I have a lot of respect for Matt and the way he runs his crew, and his opinion is very important to me because that's his job. He does it for all of us. And I respect his recommendations that we continue to allow concealed carry anywhere that it's legal. Won't be legal at Dickman Hall, ever, because it's gonna be a 51%, which means more than 51% of the sales are alcohol related. But I have great respect for Matt and his recommendations. It's part of the reason that I'm talking today.
Today, the 51% comes through.
How are you gonna prove
Well, Matt does not have to let anybody on the fort who's a non-member if they're openly carrying a gun. I mean, it is private property, and he has that right to refuse entrance. Is that not right?
Wouldn't we then be violating somebody's rights as it's been explained? Do we have to have a sign up for that? Okay, any other more discussion? Yes, please.
Well, after listening to a half an hour discussion, the board has the authority to put signs on specific buildings where you cannot conceal carry or open carry. Am I correct?
Yes,
Use that.
yes.
That's all you have to do.
Do not start clapping again. This board has to make a decision. And I know you'd like it to go one way or the other, but it's got to be the board.
I would just like to say one other thing. These things are just things that bounce off my head for discussion and somebody else to help make decisions with.
Go
I'm
ahead.
not trying to legislate what we do, but again, I say that we need to put signs on all of our buildings and
Please, 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 give her a chance to talk.
signs on our buildings that say no firearms allowed inside this building. These are the signs that everybody's putting up at the post office. It's up at the medical center, and it says no firearms allowed inside these buildings. We do have the right to do that without creating any great problem. And however this goes, I think we ought to have the signs up on our buildings as soon as possible.
If I'm not mistaken, isn't that what our resolution is about?
Yes, because if we make this decision, we have to post the signs.
As I read the resolution, it means all of Fort Clark. Yeah. Hmm? Well, I understand that, but what you're saying is that open carry is allowed on the fort then? Except for these buildings? All right, I did not quite read that way. Well, concealed is pretty easy to allow because we can't tell. I'm still trying to get either someone to call the question or.
I will call the question.
All right. What we have is now whether or not to vote on the, excuse me, we have to vote on that. Sorry. It's been a long week. All right. Once more, can you read the
The motion made by Ms. Hagan was to approve the resolution to amend the FCSA rules and regulations to prohibit open carry on the grounds and buildings of FCSA.
Thank you. Any more discussion?
Well,
Sorry. The question's been called. We have to vote. We have to. All in favor of the motion as it reads? Opposed? All right, the motion has died. It was 3-2.
I didn't see Ms. Barrett.
She voted against.
So would you explain what this means then to the members?
All right. What I would entertain is either a motion to redo the resolution to primarily go for buildings, or to decide to put it on the ballot.
Okay, I will make a motion to redo the resolution to include Fort Clark buildings and the lawn and property immediately surrounding them only.
We're talking about swim park as well, right?
Yes, swim park, because we do have fort buildings on the swim park. So that would only be, for instance, the adult center and the lawns, parking lots around it. The boardroom with the administrative, because it's attached to the administrative
Oh, for
office.
goodness sakes, don't bring a gun in here.
No, I'm just giving an example. So I will rephrase it. I will make a
And one
motion.
day I expect somebody to stand up and shoot me.
I will rephrase it. I move that we revise the the resolution to include only the Fort Clark buildings and the immediate property surrounding them for safe entry and access, for prohibiting open carry. Concealed carry would still be allowed.
I guess I'd like to extend that then. Security could stop someone openly carrying if they're just visiting, right? Is there a way we can cover that?
One more thought, and
Oh, go ahead.
reiterating that. The signs that I'm seeing on the post office and the clinic and probably on the courthouse and things like that, says no firearms will be permitted inside these buildings. That means restricted carry also, no firearms.
Don't start, I didn't get a second, did I?
I'll second it that we rewrite it and check out more about what we're talking about to go forward.
No, I'm following you. Yeah.
Somebody for a second, that's all I asked.
Second.
Is anybody? I don't think I've lost control, but it's.
Such a complex issue.
Oh, Steve, please, unless you've got something really good, please.
No, you ought to clarify, the surrounding area is pretty vague. What is the
Well,
surrounding?
that's why we're asking to change it. And if you'd like, we can have another special meeting.
How about if I do like attached porches, balconies and so forth,
Well-
directly attached to the building?
Let's, nobody's ever going to like this, but shall we have another special meeting to show what we've done?
That is something with the motion.
I know it isn't. It's my question. Philip is alarmed. Right now, we have a motion to change the resolution to include buildings primarily and areas such as the swim park. That's our motion. Well, it's obviously bad because we're going to have another special meeting to answer, to vote on it.
I would suggest if we do have another special meeting, that we have someone in law enforcement or in someone who is more familiar with the state laws to maybe give us some different kind of guidance that we've had now. I appreciate all of these members that have come up with what they know about this, but is there something else that we should know? I don't know.
Okay, Ann is suggesting another special meeting.
Well, do we have to vote on this?
We're talking about it. Is it really important that we,
Well, it's a comment.
go ahead.
The original vote and motion that was voted down was to approve the resolution.
I'm sorry, it wasn't voted down, it was tabled?
Well, it was voted
No,
down.
it failed.
It failed.
Oh, just now, is that what you're talking
No,
about?
okay, the original one that failed was to vote on a resolution, the proposed resolution, that's the one that failed.
Right, because this resolution needs rewriting.
Yes, but what Sandy is proposing, the motion, are things that are just coming out of suggestions that she's making. It's not the actual revised resolution.
No, no, you're right. No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm sorry.
So
I am
that needs
agreeing
to be
with you.
proposed.
That's why I'm suggesting maybe we need a special meeting.
Anne made the comment earlier that she thought y'all needed to sit down with law enforcement and get some true facts.
If we have a special meeting, we'll
I
do
think
that.
that's what y'all need to do before you have another special meeting.
I make a motion that we have a special.
We have a motion on the floor.
It's obvious that we have other things going on. I will withdraw my motion.
Wait a minute, we have to withdraw the second as well.
Are you withdrawing your
Second.
You're withdrawing your motion to rewrite the resolution? Is that?
It's obviously, we either need to take a vote on it or I'll withdraw it, but the board is in contention right now, and that is not the purpose
Oh, I
of
thought
this.
I thought we were just discussing it.
No, because there were other, and suggested something else, and the only reason that I am.
Okay, I did lose control and I missed it. All right, the resolution right now is the motion is to rewrite the resolution
Resubmit a new.
and resubmit, okay?
She withdrew.
Only, you guys, I understand, but you're not helping us get our stuff done up here by just shouting comments out. It's making it more difficult.
If you withdraw this motion, is that the end of it?
No.
That you made?
No, it's not.
So
Actually,
you-
the reason that I made a motion to revise this to include buildings only is I think that we need something in place immediately or shortly, because already I've had comments from so many members that they're very unhappy with the fact that people are gonna be walking around, so I'm trying, with open carry weapons. That's why I made the motion.
Okay, now you did withdraw the motion. Do you want to restate it, or are you wanting to?
Did she have a second on that motion?
Yes, and he still wants to know whether or not she's going to really withdraw.
Okay,
We're having a
I'll be
fight.
honest, I withdrew under duress. I still want something governing our buildings. And I will make that motion to ban open carry on fort-owned buildings, including the swim park, only, not other areas around the fort.
Now, you just said open carry. We should ban any firearm coming in there. You may do both, I assume, because it's on the post office and it's in the clinic. Now, I don't know if it'll hold up to the law or not.
Well, government buildings can ban all weapons for obvious reasons, but no, just open carry.
You'd have to list the buildings.
Buildings, yes, we would have to list the buildings.
So the original motion is back in play then?
Yes.
We have a secretary who's trying to.
I know.
Do you seriously need to get involved in it?
I believe you already have the authority to do that. So why have a motion?
Because
The
we
board
want.
has the authority to shut any places serve liquor, all right? And you can shut it down the board, no concealed carry, no open carry, put a sign on the door. The law says if we see that and we have a pistol, we gotta leave it in the car. That's taken care of.
Yeah.
But we have to check, it's not written that way in the rules and regulations, so we have to change.
We have
those.
to change a section of our rules and regulations. It shouldn't take as much as this. But this seems to be a really big deal in Texas, so I thought we'd have a really big deal about it. And we have. It's still the same motion. She just wants to rewrite it to include mainly buildings. Well, we can't, because when we rewrite it, then we have nothing to bring forward. We are going to bring forward a new motion, resolution. You betcha.
Yes.
to rewrite our rules and regulations to allow, to switch signs on our buildings.
It's not specified because we just want to rewrite it right now. We're not going to approve this this resolution. We're going to rewrite it. Now, I think we're still discussing it.
Well, why do we need a resolution if this is rules and regulations we're changing? We can change any rules and regulations, it's the board. We don't need a resolution to do that. We don't allow minnow singing in the creek, we can do that without a resolution.
That's the point, we just, I
You
think we have to have a resolution in place that says what the rules and regulations are to say.
If it were not this particular subject, I think we could do anything we wanted to.
Why don't y'all wait till I get off the board?
First you don't want off, and now you want on? Okay.
Could I amend the motion to also include all weapons?
Right.
Concealed or?
Right now, we're just recommending that it be rewritten. All right.
Here's your rules and regulations.
Yes.
What it has to say about hunting firearms, just so you know what you're changing.
Well,
FCSA property shall be considered a wildlife refuge with no hunting, trapping, or discharge of firearms permitted except in controlled
We
conditions
just read that.
directly authorized by the board of directors under circumstances considered in the best interest of the
Yeah, we just read that too.
And we're trying to explain where open carry can be. Believe it or not, we've got another little meeting after this. I'm going to call the question myself. The motion is to rewrite the resolution. Be more specific. All in favor? Opposed? B is abstaining. Okay. Now I'm going to ask whether or not you want a special meeting to explain what we've done. Do you want to face this mass again? Well, then you need to make a motion. We have these same meetings so that we can have motions. The newly written regulations can go out in the newsletter that goes out twice a month. It can go there. It can be made available at the front desk. What do you want to do?
Well, we could rewrite it, make sure that it's written properly within the law, and then disseminate it on the newsletter, make copies available of it everywhere, people can read it in their desks.
In the buildings on the port and so forth? Does that seem reasonable, everyone?
What was that? Sorry, I can't.
We will rewrite the resolution. We were doing it as a resolution so that this is a really big deal here in Texas, I understand. But we were doing it as a resolution so that people would understand what we were doing. What we are doing now is saying that we will rewrite it to include buildings primarily and make it available to everyone, either through the newsletter that you get twice a month, or through the, you can pick something up at the front desk.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's any more about firearms, I've got my own right here. Just kidding.
Y'all gonna let Sam shoot that snake out there?
He can do that with anything he wants. How do you do that? Doesn't it have a lot of,
Trap him and make a pet out of him.
wouldn't it have a lot of babies? I mean, it sounds like a beautiful snake. He's probably had many. All right, I'm going to take the 15-minute. I'm going to hold you to it, and nobody can talk about open carry. All right, we've done that. Sam, you had something to. Yes.
I know I'm the Fort Clark clown, and I wear my court jester's hat proudly. But I want to take my court jester's hat off right now, and I want to wax philosophically. And I'm glad that all 6 of the people that are running for the board are here. Father Sinclair, a Jesuit priest, had a mantra, and this is what he said: people can do great things if it doesn't matter who gets the credit. We have a lot of volunteers on this fort that work their butts off doing stuff here on the fort, and none of them are looking for personal credit or aggrandizement. I'll give you an example. Dickman Hall is beautiful. I've been in there and looked at it. You should have seen it when they started. They had to rip the carpet up off of the floor and took 15 gallons of solvent to get the glue up a foot at a time on their hands and knees with putty knives. They repaneled and retiled everything in there. The place is gorgeous. It's a 1940s venue, beautiful lounge. They redid the furniture, the upholstery, and everything. And this is a group of volunteers that doesn't even want their name mentioned. I have a group of volunteers that work at the airport with me. We're not looking for any recognition either. The Creekside Restaurant was someone's idea, and there were a lot of people opposed to it. We need to support the Creekside Restaurant. We need to support everything on this fort to keep it going. Otherwise, we are just going to be a subdivision of homes that people drive in and out of. If we want this to be a fun, happy place that has something for everyone, we need to pursue that. Do you know who RG3 is? RG3 was the quarterback for the Baylor Bears. He was the Heisman Trophy winner that year, and he went to the Washington Redskins. He got injured, and he got a lot of controversy and a lot of problems up there in Washington, D.C. I can understand that, because, you know, the oil is all in Texas, but the dipsticks are all in D.C. RG3 cleaned out his locker this week and went somewhere we don't know. He's going to some other team or some other occupation. His locker was empty except for a note hanging in there. And I want to read you the note that RG3 left to the Washington Redskins, their fans, and their management. Here's his note. People are often unreasonable and irrational and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. People are kind. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people will deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you may spend years creating can be destroyed overnight. Create anyway. If you are serene and happy, some people will be jealous of you. Be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give your best, knowing that it will never be enough. Give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. I've read this morning, and it probably won't make a bit of difference, but I read it anyway.
Mary, you got something?
Well, I just have a question. Do I have to go over that?
Y'all are gonna think I'm stupid. That's why I was gonna ask my question, but I'm gonna ask it anyway, Sam. I don't understand why, if part of our monthly dues goes to the impound fund, why every month the transfers to impound is zero.
Because there's no real transfer. When the deposits come in, the money is automatically figured, how much goes into impound, and then automatically deposited into impound. There's no transfer. So there's no transfer from one account to impound. They're automatically put into impound.
So you read us an impound balance, which includes the monthly.
Yes.
Okay, so I understood that. Okay, the next thing is, Sam, the airport is historic property, and I'm told that you have not asked the impound fund for help with restoration through the Historic Preservation Committee. And so my question is, am I correct? How do we get the airport on the
Should be able to
radar?
buy your screws at least.
Oh, we need a screw. How do we get the airport on the Preservation Committee's radar? I'm done.
I do not know whether the airport has ever been designated as a historic site or not.
No.
And
You
so
need to-
that's the first thing we need to do,
Yeah.
is get it designated as a historic site, get a plaque up, and,
Who does that? Kenny County.
I don't know, not me.
The Historical Society
can do it,
You
the
ask
Preservation
Kenny
can
County.
do it.
You ask Kitty County is what Phyllis says, she's on the committee.
Okay.
She's the boss.
Kenny County Historical Society, is that
Correct.
You've mentioned several times how old that hangar is, I think. I'm talking to
Second
Sam.
oldest in the country, 1928 was started.
Yeah. So there should be some kind of designation. It would, though, help that you've got the doors working and the Phillips screen to get to
Fort
the...
Clark Airfield has been there since 1919. Airplanes landed there and flew up and down the Rio Grande River watching for Pancho Villa during the Mexican Revolution. That was when it was first used. I believe the hangar was built in 1928. And it is the second oldest military hangar in America. The oldest is Hangar 5 at Brooksfield in San Antonio. This is the second oldest military hangar in America.
So let's get with the Kenny County Historical Society and get something moving. I mean, there might be money there. Chuck?
Yeah, Sammy, I think she's right. I think it's the Historical Society's job to do that. But I do want to caution you that it takes a tremendous amount of research. Like all of those things that you and Stan have both come up with that are phenomenal. You know, all we have to do is get documentation proving those, and then we can submit the applications to have it declared as a historic site.
But the Historical Society will help you with that.
Yes.
If that's historical, are you talking Fort Clark, or are you talking Kenny County? Kenny County is the commission. Fort Clark is the society.
There is a Kenny County Historical Society, isn't there?
No, it's Kenny County Historical Commission.
Excuse me.
I didn't know if it was Fort Clark Society.
Well, there are two entities you ought to be able to get something from. Sorry, Chuck, did you hear me?
No, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear Jan.
She said, she was correcting me. It's the Kenny County Historical Commission, not society.
Right.
Fort Clark
And then it's Fort Clark Historical, so.
If I'm not mistaken, I would think that the Fort Clark Historical Society, in conjunction with the airport people, would have to put the proposal together with the documentation and then present it so that it can be forwarded on to.
I'm not gonna let the board give directions. I'm going to have you work with the Historical Society or Commission or something, okay?
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay.
We've been mauled enough today. Okay. I want you to know that while it may seem we just sit up here and dither around, that what we're trying to do is get your feelings and your work to the betterment of all of us. There's not one of us up here that has any good reason for being here except to serve the fort. We've been accused of lying, and I think I don't even know how the other word would be there, but to my knowledge, I've not lied to anybody. So if you caught me in a lie, please tell me. I will figure it out. Thank you for being here. It is 11:19. We're going into executive session.
If I could please meet with the candidates for the board so that I can talk to you about how we're going to set up the forum and get more input for it, please. So candidates that are still here.
Oh my goodness. Can you get up for it? Yeah, I got it.
It's 2:14 and taking us back into open session. Reporting that we discussed membership issue. We're going to see if we can solve it. We'll be meeting on it in the future, so can't really say we solved that one. We had a data presentation from 3 different local companies. We've asked them to come back and present to the entire membership that is at a meeting in February, because it would provide faster and possibly cheaper internet services to the whole fort. So we do want them to do that. We apparently are required to say that Fort Clark Days is an open gate day, and they have requested that we not have any garage sales on the fort on those days. That's 2 days. The last thing we discussed was the voting in the in the 2016 election. We have FRMs who do not vote, cannot vote this time. We have charter members who have an investment, and we have a vote on whether or not they can vote. Yes, vote. Somebody has to make a motion. I move that charter members be allowed to vote. Somebody want to second it?
I'll second that.
All right. It's been moved and seconded that charter members vote this time, but not after this. Not even gonna let you discuss. All in favor? Opposed? Okay. I don't
explain why.
know. Anything else?
I have a dissent to action, and I want my name recorded as I voted in the minutes.
Both of the two of you will be, yes.
Yes.
We're not going anywhere because we're not having a full-blown meeting after the meeting. Allison, did you stay for a reason?
No, I just really felt as though I missed something by leaving the last time. I thought I'd stay this time.
Poor
I do
thing.
have a question though. On your, when you're looking at those 3 providers for internet service, is that literally into private homes too, that they can sign
Yes.
up with that internet service too instead of AT&T?
That was, yes, it was, that's why I asked them to present at a full meeting, and of course, they wanted to do that, but they were not going to ask. Because the more push they can get from our membership, the more likely we are to sign up for them.
Did we say we were going to have them at the open meeting next month?
Yes,
Okay. You might want to include that in the statement.
I did.
She did,
I
she did,
didn't
yeah.
hear it. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
she did.
sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just into our public buildings, but
No,
that
no.
the membership could also.
We, in our case, we, as far as the board as a whole, it appears that we might have a chance at putting our phones in reducing the price significantly.
Yes, I
And
thought
there
that
were
made
some
sense.
other things for the sales and the credit cards and so forth, but right now, the internet is the biggie.
Cool.
Okay. Anything else?
Next meeting.
Next meeting is February 20th, 2016. If there's no further business, we're adjourned at,
When's our next workshop meeting?
oh, do you have have you set a
I have one that can come in on the 22nd, at 10 a.m.
okay.
Okay,
And then the other 2 can come in on the 25th.
Monday,
Yes, Monday,
22nd, we have one. At what time?
at 10 a.m. Excuse me, at 10 a.m.
All right.
And then on the 25th, that's up in the air right now. I need to confirm a time with them.
Okay. Can
It's
we,
in the morning though, right?
I can do mornings with both of them, yes.
can we do the same sort of tour that we did before, or do you think that's going too far this time?
I think we could, yes.
at least for the individuals, if there are any outside of the forum.
Okay. You want to stop being
Be sure you call me, so.
Reminder.
And just a reminder that the workshop on the 22nd and the 25th is not open to the public because they are regarding the.
Right.
We are actually going to be interviewing these people.
Okay, it's 2:21. I declare the meeting adjourned.
Thank you all.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for staying, it was nice to at least talk.